Let's talk a little about privacy. What does privacy mean? What is personal data? And why is this important to me? In order to answer all these questions, we must first define a few terms. We'll start with privacy. In 2 words, privacy means control and choice. It is the choice of every individual to control their own data, including their identity and image. It is the ability to choose how their personal data is used, by whom, where, why, when, and for how long. And don't be confused. Privacy is not confidentiality. Privacy is a situation when a person is free from public interference, while confidentiality is a situation when important information is kept secret between 2 entities until the entity to whom the information belongs permits to disclose it. Even public personal data is still privacy protected. For example, a LinkedIn profile. The user gets to decide how to use the personal data in a way he considers beneficial for him. Second, personal data. Any information relating to an identified or identifiable natural person, not a company, such as contract details, personal files, CVs, and health data. User data such as email, password, profile info, personal usage data. IP addresses that relate to a person, not to a server. Device unique identifiers may also be personal data, precise location, and device geolocation. And there are also special categories of personal data, such as racial or ethnic origin, political opinions, genetic data, and biometric data, data concerning health, sexual orientation, etc. Question: which of these is not an example of special category data? 1. Fingerprints. 2. Age. 3. Religion of a person. 4. Information regarding mental health. The answer is age. As you can see, we are dealing with personal human rights, with someone's personality and identity assets. There are certain privacy principles that we must first understand and respect. Privacy by design default. We should always be aware of the privacy aspects of what we're doing when we collect or analyze data, or when we want to build a program or run campaigns based on certain data. We must ask ourselves, are we acting in the best interest of these people's privacy? Data minimization. Only collect the data we absolutely need to fulfill the end goal. For example, we don't necessarily need to collect gender information or date of birth from participants registering for an online event. Storage initiation. We should save data only for as long as we actually need it. Elementor has a retention policy we act upon. Transparency. We should always be transparent about what we're doing. If we are collecting new types of data, we should let our users, customers, employees know about it. Question: which of the following is not a principle under GDPR? 1. Transparency. 2. Accountability. 3. Timeliness. 4. Data collection limitation. The answer is timeliness. Are you holding up so far? Good. So now let's talk about GDPR. GDP what? The EU General Data Protection Regulation. Don't worry if you don't recognize this term. By the end of this session, you will be GDPR ready, or you'll know what to do if you have some concerns or questions about it. GDPR is a regulation concerning privacy and data protection in the European Union, EU, and the European Economic Area, EEA. Its primary aim is to enhance individuals' control and rights over their personal data and simplify the international business regulatory environment. In other words, it is a legal framework that sets guidelines for the collection and processing of personal information. The rights of individuals under GDPR. The right to be informed that the data is being collected, the right to access your data, the right to rectification, to amend your data so it would be updated, the right of erasure, the right to be forgotten, not everything has to be available online forever, the right to restrict processing, and individuals may limit the way that we use the data. The right to data portability allows individuals to move, copy, or transfer personal data from one place to another safely, without affecting its usability. The right to object to the data processing. Rights in relation to automated decision-making and profiling gives the right not to be subject to a decision based solely on automated means. The GDPR also governs the transfer of personal data outside the EU and EEA, and therefore is relevant for companies around the world that are processing personal data of EU residents, like us in Elementor. We're a company outside the European Union, but we have customers in the EU and the EEA. This is why we also need to adhere to the GDPR guidelines. Question: an American traveler in Spain ordered a product from an online store located in Spain. This traveler is 1. Protected under the GDPR. 2. Not protected under the GDPR. The answer is protected under the GDPR. You're probably asking yourself, what am I supposed to do with this information? In Elementor, we use data as an organization and as professionals in order to do our job. In your daily tasks, you handle personal data. Here are a few examples by department. HR and G&A departments. Candidate CVs and hiring managers. Personal files or welfare vendors. Salary information. CX department. User personal data. Systems and tools. Privacy tickets. Employees and candidates. Marketing department. Webinars and events, analytics, systems and tools, marketing terms, communications, cookies, employees and candidates, R&D, business strategy and product departments, customer and user data, systems and tools, employees and candidates. Questions by department. HR and G&A. According to the GDPR, when interviewing candidates, is it allowed to ask them about racial or ethnic origin? The answer is no. CX. Can we copy tickets to Google Translate with personal information? The answer is no. Marketing. Can we use an email address that we have in our records in order to invite users for a new raffle? The answer is no. R&D, business strategy, and product departments. You need to open a POC for a vendor that will give us security services. This vendor should have direct access to the personal information of our users in order to provide the service. Which kind of document do you need the vendor to sign? DPA, Data Processing Agreement, or NDA, Non-Disclosure Agreement? The answer is DPA, Data Processing Agreement. You should also be familiar with the legal aspects of this matter. There are 3 roles you should be aware of under GDPR. Data Controller determines the purposes and means of the processing of personal data, alone or jointly with others. Data Processors process personal data on behalf of the controller. Processing includes storing, remote access, etc. There can be more than one party processing data. And the subprocessor, any third party that processes personal data on behalf of the controller under the instruction or supervision of the processor. Example: controller and processor. A brewery has many employees. It signs a contract with a payroll company to pay the wages. The brewery tells the payroll company when the wages should be paid, when an employee leaves or has a pay raise, and provides all other details for the salary slip and payment. The payroll company provides the IT system and stores the employee's data. The brewery is the data controller, and the payroll company is the data processor. Let's make it simple. In our case, Elementor determines how to process data concerning our website visitors and our editor customers, etc. Question: